Are you struggling right now to make a big career decision? Or maybe in the past, you've had a big opportunity and you just don't know how to make that decision? I'm going to give you 7 simple steps today on how to make big life or career decisions here on the Fearless Investor Podcast. Hey, welcome into the Fearless Investor Podcast. You're joining me, myself, and I, Kyle Stanley. I hope you are having a great week. And I also hope that this podcast helps you to be able to make some decisions that maybe in the past have been difficult for you. I know that there's a lot of people that are paralyzed by fear of making a big decision. I love making quick decisions. I love just jumping in and figuring out the details later. But I know a lot of people are not that way. And today is going to be designed for those of you that need that help, that don't really understand, man, how do you make such quick decisions and so confidently? And that's something that I'm going to be addressing today. Now, before I do, as I'm bringing up my notes here, I do want to remind you that Airbnb is doing really well. For me, it's doing really well for a lot of people, and even nationwide. A good friend of mine over in Newport is seeing things start to open back up again, income starting to flow again. And so now the question is, what are you going to do about that? Is it the time for you to jump in and finally give this Airbnb shot a thing? Well, the first thing I would do is just go straight to our website, fearlesskyle.com. And right there on the homepage, there's an Airbnb profit calculator. All you got to do is just put your name and email in there, and boom, the calculator is sent to you. You can see exactly how you can go in and start to evaluate an Airbnb and see if it is the right fit for you right now in your city or a city maybe that you're looking at. So make sure to go do that. Again, it's just fearlesskyle.com. And you just go ahead and right there on the front of the page, just put in your information and the Airbnb calculator will be sent to you. So now let's get to it today. I'm really excited about this because I've always been really quick about making some bigger decisions in my life. And a lot of it has been driven by passion. A lot of it has been driven by just proof of concept. But it was about a year and a half ago that a friend of mine came to me and said, hey, this is 6 ways in which I make quick decisions. Now, he wasn't a friend then. He was just someone that I knew of. But now today I call him a good friend of mine. In fact, he was on the show back when we really just first got started. I think it was in the first 10 episodes there, Ryan Carmody. I would definitely go check out some of the stuff that he talks about. But I added another one to this, and I made it 7 ways for making a really quick decision for you. So I want you to, first of all, take what you're thinking about right now. Is it getting into real estate? Is it this new job opportunity that you have that you're just not quite sure about? Is it this opportunity to partner with someone in a business and, man, you're just wondering, is this really the path that I see myself going for years and years and years to come? And I want you to think about that opportunity or that thing maybe that you've been trying to do. Maybe it is a passion project. Okay. Maybe it's not even something that's going to pay you, but you just are really excited about doing it. And what's holding you back? What is the reason of which you are not making that decision? So let's take these 7 questions that you can ask yourself and put it into context. And you might either realize, my hope is this, at the end of this, one of a few things happens. Either A, you realize, wow, there really is nothing holding me back, and this was the confidence that I needed to jump in. That would be exciting. B, maybe one of these questions becomes questionable for you, and you say, is that going to be something that in the long term I'm going to be okay with? And then C, you're just going to realize this is exactly why I've been holding back, is because of this question. And now I know I'm not going to make this decision. I'm going to go do something a different way. That's my hope today, that you get some sort of clarity on whatever thing that you're struggling with and get the opportunity to either jump in or know that this is not for you to jump in on. And I'll tell you this before we jump in, I actually asked myself these questions about 2 months ago. I was given the opportunity to partner with a company that had honestly, like a hero of mine that is in financial services and life insurance. And it was one of those things that I was like, wow, like this seems like a really great opportunity. I went through all these questions. At the end of the day, one of the questions was the deciding factor for me of why I decided not to go for it. And I'm going to actually walk you through that at the end here. But here's the first thing. First question that you need to ask yourself when you're presented with an opportunity: is it legal? Okay. So for one thing, like, yeah, you could make a lot of money. Yeah, it would be great. Yeah, it's like this big thing, but it's, oh, by the way, it's robbing a bank. No, not legal. Or, hey, it's laundering money. No, not legal. Don't do it. It's just as simple as that. If it's not legal, you just don't do it. Number two, is it ethical? Okay. Is it something that at the end of the day, if you know that, hey, this is really bordering the line of ethical, like I'll give you a good example in real estate. A lot of people claim that wholesaling is not ethical. A lot of people claim that subject to is not ethical, but they have a misunderstanding of it. They don't understand that this is actually, a lot of people see it as, oh, I'm if you want, if you're going to be a wholesaler, then you got to really screw someone, and that's the only way that you can make some money. And that's not the case. There are people that are doing it that way. In that case, if you're screwing people because you just want to make, instead of $10,000 a deal, but $50,000 a deal, yeah, that at that point becomes very borderline ethical. Or in subject to, if you're taking over someone's mortgage and they're taken off of title, but they're still bound to that mortgage, and your plan is to one day just say, hey, I'm done with this property, and walk away, and now they have to go deal with it. Yeah, that's not ethical. That's not cool. But if you're doing it in an ethical way, then yeah, go for it. Okay. Number three, is it moral? Okay. Now, this is where it comes to your set of beliefs. Ethical is just, kind of a blanket. Everyone has should be going by the same ethics. Where moral is it within what you believe? Is it within your moral compass? And so there's a lot of different ways that we could evaluate this, but I don't want to start to speculate. I'll just say for me, if it's not going to be in my moral compass, I can't see myself like going to sleep at night and being okay with it. If it's, the main thing is just my belief in there being a higher power, being God, whatever you want to call that for yourself. And so if I'm going to join something and it's greatly against that, and I know that all the people around me are going to be trying to get me to not believe in whatever I believe anymore, then it's not moral for me, and it's not within my beliefs. So I'm just not going to make that. I'm just not going to surround myself with that. Hopefully that makes sense for you. But number four, is it logical? Logical. What's a good example of this? Okay. A lot of these things though don't seem logical in the beginning. Let's take, for example, Airbnb. Hey, I'm going to rent out a room to a complete stranger in my house. That doesn't seem very logical. However, it became logical over time. So in the beginning, depending upon where you're at in the world right now, there are things that won't seem logical right now that suddenly catch fire, and you're like, okay, well, everyone else is doing it and it seems to be going well, so now it actually does seem logical. Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, like all these things that now are people being able to have part-time jobs, renting out and using space that they either own or that they're using. It's something that was probably about 10 years ago, it didn't seem very logical. Now today it does. So is it logical? Is it worth becoming? Is it something that you can see becoming logical based on the trends in which the economy is going? That is another question. So then number five, will I make a return on my investment? And is it an ideal return on my investment? What is your time worth? So if I am let's call it lawyer right now, and I'm making $250,000 a year, let's call that, if I'm working 40 hours a week, it's 160 hours a week, 52 hours, somewhere in the neighborhood of, what is that? About $200 an hour. If I'm making $200 an hour right now, and someone comes to me and says, hey, you would be a really good grocer at a grocery store, or hey, you'd be a really good burger flipper. Okay, but I'm worth $200 an hour right now, and you want me to go down to $10 an hour. I might be really good at that. I might be able to work my way up, but is that really the return of the investment I'm looking for? If I'm looking to put my time into something, is it going to yield exactly what I'm worth or what I want? And so if the answer to that is yes, awesome. If it's no, then now you need to really understand, is that something that's going to make, because a lot of people say, well, it's not about the money. And to a certain degree, it really is about the money. And it has nothing to do with having an extravagant lifestyle and becoming rich. It has everything to do with providing for yourself and for your family and for those around you. So if you can't do that, and if there's people relying on you, or if you're relying on yourself and you've built up this lifestyle and this ROI, even at its very best, is not going to provide you that, then is it going to be just a passion project on the side, or is it possible to actually become a full-time thing for you? And that's what you have to decide, is what level at which I'm willing to do something for little or for free. And then at that point, is it the full-time thing or is it the part-time thing? So for me, when I was presented with real estate and I realized, holy cow, like right now my time is maybe worth about $50 an hour, but then fast forward and suddenly I add another zero onto that just a year later, like, yeah, my time is worth a lot more now. And I see that if I'm going to do anything, it better pay me exactly what I'm worth. So yes, to a certain extent, it is about the money. And then beyond the money, if you have something that is paying you already comfortably, so let's go back to the lawyer example. If you're a lawyer and now you've got this passion project of starting a lemonade stand, it's just completely throwing something out of nowhere. But you don't care how much you get paid from it. You just care that you put a smile on your clients' faces because you're getting paid well enough as a lawyer. Well, then go do it, because you don't care about the ROI. But you need to make sure that the ROI is paying you what you are deserved. Then number 6, this is the one that I added in myself. The 7th one we'll be going to in a little bit here, and that really is like the determining factor. But number 6 is, can I handle a worst case scenario? So I'll give you a really good example of what I ask a lot of my clients. They say, well, what if Airbnb doesn't work for me? What if I get a property and like no one's renting it out and now I got to get out of this? And so we go through that together. So we say, okay, worst case scenario, you get a place that, let's call the rent $1,000 a month, and no one is booking it. And you have no idea why. You're trying everything. For 3 months, you try everything. You don't get one single booking. Crazy, right? That's $1,000 a month. That's $3,000 plus utilities. Let's call it $3,600 because not many people are using the place. So your utilities are going to be minimal. It's $3,600 that you just lost in rent. How much should it cost you to get out of that lease? You should probably have something negotiable in there for between 1 to 2 months rent. So worst case scenario, let's say 2 months. So $5,600. And this is a 3-bedroom place, and you went and furnished it. It cost you another $5,000, plus it cost you about another $1,000 to get all of the amenities. Let's round up. Let's say it cost you $12,000, and boom, all that's gone. Didn't work. You lose that money. Can you handle that? Is a $12,000 risk worth it to you if instead, now let's look at the best case scenario. This does work. You're cash flowing $1,000 a month, and that gives you the confidence, the knowledge, the experience to go out and do it again and again and again. And you open your eyes a year later, and suddenly you've got a business that's creating $10,000 of passive income, like it's done for me in literally under a year. Is it worth the risk? Lose $12,000 or gain a 6-figure business? Is that worth the risk? Is that a good worst case scenario? I like that. Okay. And let's see. And I'll even step it up for them. I'll say, well, let's just say worst case scenario that it doesn't work as Airbnb, but instead you just turn it into a regular rental and you're making $100 a month. You sell all the furniture, you get all your money back. Maybe, you put all the furniture for 30 days, or you have like money back guarantees on the furniture for 30, 60, 90 days. You're able to return it all or sell it all, get all your money back, or even just get half of it back. And now you're cash flowing $100, $200 a month. Okay. You're still making money, right? Is that worth the worst? Are you okay with that worst case scenario? If you're not okay with that worst case scenario, you should not do this. You should not take on the risk, because at the end of the day, what happens when people lose? Most of them point fingers and they say, well, it was for this reason, it was for this reason, it was for this reason, instead of looking in. So what I just really tell people is, if you've evaluated the worst case scenario and you're confident that is absolutely the worst that it can get, and you're okay with that happening, then this to me is not that risky of a scenario. But at the end of the day, we have to ask the golden question, number 7, do I want to do this? That's the big question. And that is the question that helped me to make a big decision just over a month ago when I was presented with this opportunity for financial services, life insurance. At the end of the day, I knew, okay, it's legal. There's lots of people that are selling life insurance. Is it ethical? Yes, it's absolutely ethical. You're helping someone, you're putting them into a program in which if they pass away, then they get money for their family, or it can be an investment for them to be able to grow their money while they're alive as a vehicle with using other investments. Very ethical. Is it moral? Yeah. I mean, there's no one in this business that was really challenging my moral compass. I'm fine. Is it logical? Yes, of course it's logical. Will I make an ROI? Yeah, it was like really high ROI. There was possibility of 7 figures, even just in passive income. Can I handle the worst case scenario? Worst case scenario was, okay, I learned something, I get my license, and at the very worst, I can refer people to someone that does do life insurance, and I can make a profit just by referring. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I like that worst case scenario. But at the end of the day, do I want to do it? And I found myself getting into this and taking the license and doing all of, having some phone calls with some people. And I'm like, I'm just not passionate about this. I'm not excited about this. This isn't something that like I'm jumping out of bed and being like, I can't wait to make some progress on this today. Unlike real estate, and by the way, this was never even like a choice of putting real estate aside. This was just gonna be another tool in the tool belt. But at the end of the day, like when I said yes to real estate over a year and a half ago, I marked off all these questions and I was like waking up, like, how do I find the deal? How do I learn how to get the money? How do I evaluate, underwrite a deal? And I was just excited to learn. I was excited to do all these things. And with this, I was just like, man, you know what? I just really don't want to do it. So what did I do? I went back to the worst case scenario and I said, you know what? I'm still going to pass my license. I'm still going to partner with someone really good, and I'm going to help a lot of people see the value of life insurance through another person. And that's why if you saw recently, Chris Miles and I have partnered up. If you want to learn more about that, you just go to fearlesskyle.com/Chris Miles. Chris is an incredible expert, one of the best investors of our time. And to me, I just got to the point where I was like, I don't want to be Chris. I don't want to learn all the things that he knows. I'd rather just partner with someone and help be a resource to other people to be able to get connected with a person like Chris. So that was how that helped me to make that decision. And to me, like if you can just ask yourself these 7 questions and feel so confident in all 7 that it's legal, it's ethical, it's moral, it's logical, it's going to make me money, I like the worst case scenario, and I definitely want to do it, then you've made your decision. If any of these are question marks, you need to sit down, you need to examine it. If any of these are hard no's, if they are 100%, it's not legal, 100%, it's not ethical, it's against my moral compass, it really makes no sense, it's not logical, I'm not going to make a single dollar. Can I handle the worst case scenario? I really can't. I really just don't want to do it. If you're answering any of those questions that way, then I think you've just made your decision right now of if you should do it or not. So hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully this helps you to make great, quick decisions, smart decisions for the future. And if you want to just continue to sharpen that iron and continue to learn more about other investments in real estate and how you can make decisions on using this formula to make decisions on what your next step is going to be in the world of investing, all you got to do is just subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast, and just keep checking out the content. And if that still isn't enough, if you still need more help, as I always say, just connect with me. Okay. I'm on Instagram at FearlessKyle. You can get on to our website, fearlesskyle.com/consultation. Set up a free 15-minute call with me. Let's get all your questions answered. I would love to help to set a path for you so that you can, if you've gone through all these questions and you're still just murky on something, let's help you to be able to make a quick decision. So that's it for this episode of The Fearless Investor. We've gone over the 7 ways to be able to make quick decisions. I hope that it has helped you to make a great decision today, and I hope that it has helped you to conquer the world of investing. We'll talk to you soon.